Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy. Today, another in this series I lovingly call gun comparisons that no one on the internet is looking for, as I look at H&K's P9S versus their P30, in this case the P30L. Quickly getting that out of the way, the P30 comes in three sizes: a subcompact, which has a shorter grip and a shorter barrel slide; the standard P30, which has this grip and a standard size slide and barrel; and then the P30L, which is this guy, I think the most popular, which has standard grip, longer barrel. All that to be said, I am going to do this comparison because I think there's some very interesting contrast in these two firearms. I'll start with first and last. The P9S is the first 9mm hammer-fired gun H&K ever produced. The P30 is the last or most current hammer-fired 9mm firearm that they have produced. So H&K's first, H&K's last. Here for me, the P30 is the first gun I ever bought, and the P9 is the last gun that I bought. So H&K's first, H&K's last, my first, my last. So interesting comparison there, but lots of cool features about how this gun has evolved into this gun. Very innovative, and over time, maybe some of the innovation has worked its way into this gun, but two very different guns as well. Very futuristic looking in the 60s, very mean and tough looking John Wick's gun in the 2000s. So again, two fantastic guns. Would love to hear from you guys as well. Do you have the P9 and the P30? What do you think about both of them? But I'll show you the differences that I know about them. And I'll start with the P9. This is, again, was a gun H&K designed in the 60s. It was designed in the mid-60s, mid to late 60s. I think production started in 1972 and ran through 1984. It's a single stack, fixed barrel gun, but super innovative with this multi-control lever that I won't go into great detail here, but this thing does a lot. And has a roller delay blowback system. When H&K tried to build their first 9mm, they didn't want to just simply try and upgrade their existing smaller calibers. So they took the success they had from their MP5 roller delay system, shrunk that down, and put it in here. So this guy has a multi-function roller delayed fixed barrel gun that is incredibly accurate. Fantastic gun. A little on the heavy side because it was back in those days. Also, this is a single stack 9mm. So super innovative for its time. The P30, I would argue, not that innovative. It's a tilting Browning system like most other guns today. Not a lot of moving parts, which also lends to durability. So while this gun may not be the most innovative of all time, there's innovation in there, the barrel, the grooves, all the stuff about it, but not as innovative as this guy. But this is probably one of the most reliable, most durable guns on the planet. I've read reports of tens of thousands of rounds, many tens of thousands of rounds been fired to these guns with zero failures. I think they're designed to be bomb-proof, maybe even more so than their ancestors, the USP and the Mark 23. Blasphemy, I know, but legendary reliability in the P30. Now, contrast that with the P9. There's a known weak spot in here, and that is the buffer system. They're inside the slide here. Again, I won't disassemble it. I'll post a link to my video where I do that. There's a polymer buffer system in here that over time disintegrates or wears out, and if you don't replace it or maintain it, you could damage your gun. So not as reliable without maintenance. So very innovative, less innovative, got a few weak spots, incredibly durable. Again, very interesting contrast. Capacity almost doubled, although the guns are about the same size. This is 9+1, single stack. This is a double stack, 17+1. So almost double the capacity from 1972 until 2000, I think early 2000, 2006 is when this gun was launched and still in production today in militaries all over the world. So fantastic guns both, lots of differences. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is ergonomics, because big difference here. I'll start with the P9 again as well. For its time, I think this is probably one of the most ergonomic guns ever made, with a disclaimer, that is, if you're right-handed, because everything is on this side, your safety, your multifunction lever, which is brilliant, and everything except your heel release is, I guess you could call it ambi, and heel release is very good. It works just like that. So we'll look at the triggers in a second, so leave it out for now. So you have these great finger grooves here. You've got interesting texturing, and you've got on this side, this little ledge here that is absolutely perfect placement. Your hand, wherever your hand fits right there, your thumb goes here, can access the multifunction lever. It's absolutely a brilliant design, incredibly comfortable. The finger grooves are perfect if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, there's nothing for you, sorry. Nothing on this side. And this lovely palm swell here that I talked about before, right here, this guy, if I can get the angle right, this palm swell absolutely just digs in your palm when you shoot it left-handed. So instead of being a thumb rest, it's actually a thing that sticks right in your finger there. So not very pleasant to shoot for left-handers. So very ergonomic if you're right-handed. Now, fast forward 40 years or so to the P30. This is the most ergonomic and 100% most ambidextrous gun that I own, because everything about this is ambi. I'll stay on this side for lefties. You've got the same finger grooves, only they're better. You've got the ability to adjust side panels and back straps to your liking, all different sizes. Again, this is a double stack of 17+1, but has very ergonomic and 100% ambi. You've got H&K's awesome paddle releases, both left and right. You've got slide stop left and right, and your safety, both for right-handers and for left-handers. And instead of the decocker is actually on this side of the trigger guard, so you can reach it either with your left-hand thumb or your right-hand thumb. So for me, the most ambi-friendly gun I own. Went from the least ambi-friendly to the most ambi-friendly. Thought that was a very interesting contrast between the two. Now, two more things I'll start with to cover next. One is the sights. I love the sights on my P30. You've got these dots, 2 dots in the back and that bright dot in the front that illuminates very well. A very good sight picture, very easy to see, great sights. And they make all types of sights for the P30. Now, before I look at these sights, remember these sights were designed in the 60s. So, what did sights look like in the 60s? I think for its time, these had to be revolutionary because they're almost suppressor heights and they're incredibly easy to capture. And you got the 2 red dots and then 1 white dot, or dash rather, up front. Very tall sights. So again, this is a suppressor-friendly gun, being a fixed barrel, but the sights on this are just as good as the sights today. So love the sight picture on the P9S. Now, so in general, most things have gotten better over time. Not as innovative, but way more reliable, way more ergonomic. So again, interesting evolution of the guns. One thing I would argue has not gotten better, and that is the trigger. I rant too often probably about H&K's trigger, at least the P30 trigger. That was a laser target I had in there. So this trigger, again, the double action is fine. It's long and heavy, but it's fine. But the single action from standard trigger today has got quite a bit of take up, and then some mush, and then it breaks. So long reset, take up, a little bit of mush, and it breaks. All that movement for me makes me not as accurate at this gun until I get about 30 rounds in it. Once I get about 30 rounds in it, I'm pretty good. Okay, fine. The P9, however, is very different. Again, this trigger, I should mention, this is a hammer-fired gun. The hammer is buried in here. Again, if you don't know that, I will show you this in another video. I'll link it in the description below. But the double action here, it's long but pleasant. Totally a good double action. But the single action, it's got some take up, quite a bit of take up there, but when you take it up, it's at a wall and it breaks so clean, incredibly clean. So I love the oversized trigger guard. But this guy, I would argue that long reset, which I don't love, and take up, very easy to take up, but it hits the wall instantly and breaks clean. So although this gun isn't comfortable for me to shoot, if you're a right-hander, this may be one of the best shooting guns you'll ever hold because it is incredibly ergonomic. It's very soft shooting with this roller delay blowback system, and the fixed barrel plus this cool trigger makes this a very accurate handgun. Again, right out of the box, I shot this guy way better than I do my P30. So I think that's super interesting. It's just not comfortable for left-handers. So H&K's first gun, H&K's last gun. My first gun, my last, or most recent gun, I should say. I thought that was a very interesting comparison, and I hope that you enjoyed watching. If you haven't yet, please consider liking, subscribing, and sound off in the comments on your thoughts on the P9 or the P30. Thanks again.